afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero of Strike, Defender of the Fatherland. Another longer 1 vs 1, so no mid-game analysis again. We got here in the North Emu, fighting for Germany, the Oberkommand West for the Fallschirm Panzerdivision Hermann Göring, with Luftwaffe Ground Forces here chosen. Versus in the South, we got Main Concern, aka Kryptic, fighting here for the Soviet Union. And the 213th Rifle Division. We got here for him counterattack partisans and guard motor with machine gun and anti-tank gun bulletins, with the support room company going up. My apologies, support room company going up first there. With infantry pullers there for Emu, of course, was gone there for Kuhwagen Volksgrenadiers, and there go Main Concerning for the maximum. Of course, the question will be full maximum spam with just conscripts mixed with the conscripts mixed with maxims. Otherwise, I mean, it's going to be a bit of a hit there for Emu if it is in fact full maximum spam, as that is something the Oberkommand West can struggle against. Kuhwagen there setting up, they're just going straight for the fuel point as fast as he can. Kryptic there spreading out a bit with his engineers, and then first maximum there almost ready. Luftwaffe Ground Forces doctrine that recently haven't seen a lot of usage, I feel, but I still think it's pretty potent. It's got reconnaissance, it's got Fallschirmjägers, it's got Valiant Assault, which is a pretty handy ability. It's also got the Airborne Assault. This one, obviously, this part of heavy fortification is a bit weaker since trenches aren't really much used. The Oberkommand West, now the tank traps and the flanking placement are just complete and utter rubbish. I mean, I've had one basically decrewed by a single bazooka from a captain. She's bagging up here to protect the actual sandbags. Yeah, do not worry, if they try to get it, they'll trip and they'll hurt their little noses. Ha ha ha. Storm Pioneers are going there, Maxim moving up. Another Maxim there for him. We got more sandbags going up there for Emu as he grabs territory there for Germany. Deutschland. In the south, engineers are setting up, but they've sort of converged a bit there. Max moving up, and there you go, quickly pushed away there. Storm Pioneers moving up, might try and catch them out in the open, but there you go, they're quickly rushing for the house. Will he make it back into the house as well, or what will Emu's response here be to this Maxim machine gun? In the west, it needs to continue to secure. Second full grenadier squad there eyeing for Emu. Full grenadiers sending southwards to go for the core point there. Engineers versus Kuhwagen. Going here for the core point, could even try and set up sandbags. Oh, that should pressure Kryptic a bit there, making it hard for him to sort of gain resources. Maximum moving from the north. Third maximum, it looks like it is full maximum spam there for Kryptic versus Emu. We'll of course have to see how he handles this. It's certainly not going to be easy there for Emu. Fultz was falling back. Here are the ships. Oh, flanking behind the maximum here. Good work there, saving the Fultz Grenadiers. And still has sort of control of the fuel point there for Kryptic. Good work. Kuhwagen's going to need some fixing there, though. Suffered quite a bruising against Kryptic's forces. Third maximum almost done. Really, I think at this point you can start laying down some sandbags to help make it easy for him to defend it. There we go. Storm Pioneers working with the Kuhwagen's western here being secure, but again, at the same time, can't actually get any resources out of it, meaning Emu so got the resource advantage over Kryptic there. Kuhwagen being fixed up, Volker's moving up there, again no sign of sandbags though. Third squad there, no tech up yet there for Emu. Grabbing there the cut-off point back. Now again he could add some sandbag, Volker's there, that would allow him to defend it. And made it a lot harder for the Maximum to attack head on, in particular since here there's pretty much only negative cover, meaning any Maximum run through there would actually be a surprisingly easy target there for Emu's troops. Engineers there versus Kuhwagen, Storm Pioneers. We've got Volker moving from the other side, we've got a mine there, actually a good spot for that. And we got a truck here for Emu, so that'll probably be tech up versus Maximum spam. I mean, some players will go for battle group headquarters for the light infantry gun, others will go, mechanized for the looks. Personally, though, I generally always recommend the looks. Fultz here versus the Maximum, though. Heavy cover there versus no cover. More Fultz moving in here. Small chance of actually seizing the Maximum. That'd be pretty good there for Emu, in which case we could turn in against Kryptic. Fourth Maximum on the way there. Kuhwagen lost, and there we go to the mine. I was rather expecting that one to happen. And we got a good choice then. It is Partisans for Kryptic. Partisans, while popular, hasn't seen so much usage lately. It's been mostly, guardsmen, a few shock troopers, but Kryptic here pushing back with the Partisans, which I still think is a very effective doctrine, a bit like, our Luftwaffe Ground Force. I also personally think is a pretty damn effective doctrine as well. So, the Kuhwagen for a bit of fuel. Mechanized regiment going up, and of course that should help at least getting a bit there faster. Maxim holding up there out in the open. If you can sort of spot it out there and flank it, he should be able to deal with it. There we go. Partisans with their PPH-41s moving up there. Partisans being a sort of many diverse groups. Of course, the Soviet ones were generally sort of led by Soviet troops who were initially caught behind enemy lines during Operation Barbarossa, or in some cases, paratroopers from failed paratroop operations, of which quite a few happened actually. Meaning some of those Soviet partisans could be actually surprisingly well trained and equipped. Little fun fact there. Of course, there were also many other partisan groups, and they generally didn't always work well together. Which in some cases the Germans actually took advantage of, though of course not directly, but you know, by saying, hey, look at this, we totally, you know, accidentally left a lot of weapons out, you know, very poorly guarded. Would be terrible if we were to grab them and then use them against the other partisans. So that's, for example, also something that happened. MG34 then on the way for Emu. He can actually soon go for the looks as well. But at the same time, with partisans out, that means anti-tank partisans. I mean, he has to be a bit careful there with the looks. I mean, otherwise, that thing's going to risk getting wiped there, or at least destroyed. Worst, or best case scenario, taking a lot of damage there. So, I mean, that does mean he sort of has to adjust his tactics a bit there, in particular around houses, because otherwise, Kryptic there can end up doing a lot of damage. So far, with the Maximus sort of leading well there against Emu and the Hermann Göring Fallschirm Panzer Division, which would later be upgraded to a full Panzer Corps with a Panzer Division and a Panzer Grenadier Division plus Panzer Fusilier Battalion as well. A lot of other sort of elements there on that sort of core level. Started initially out actually as the sort of private police unit of Hermann Göring, then later be formed into a flak battalion, and then sort of slowly upgraded by the time of North Africa. It was a Panzer Grenadier Division, also fought a bit of that in Italy, and then was shifted to the Eastern Front, where it sort of became a Panzer Division, and then sort of finally a Panzer Corps by 1945. The sort of Hermann Göring's own little personal unit, and basically the Luftwaffe's own Panzer Division, which is not really something you expect. So holding back here, he's worried about an attack on the Gulf point. We got Maximus here firing grenades going off there from the Partisan, doing a bit of damage to the Sturm Pioneers, but overall, not too much. Looks almost done there for Emu. Again, needs to be careful with that. And again, anti-tank Partisans are very much sort of the worry there for him. He needs to sort of be careful with them. I mean, if you can get Kryptic to spend a lot of manpower on it, that's not too bad, since that then manpower they can't be used to fight as infantry, for example, but, you know, be damn careful about it. Nonetheless, Maximus there low on health, close to being knocked out. Foster's falling back. Luke's moving up there, and here Partisan continue to fight against the Sturm Pioneers, or the Sturm Pioneers are struggling against them, or perhaps they're focusing on the targets. Now, engineers close to being wiped here. Could we see a wipe? Could we see a wipe? Low on health. Oh, they get away. They get away. In the east, though, we got Maximus here covering an engineer advance there from Kryptic. Emu certainly a bit on rocky ground at the moment. 213 Flight Division managed to secure a lot of vital spots there, a lot of vital buildings, and turn them against Emu and the Hermann Göring Fallschirm Panzer Division. Back here, Maximus way in the back. Anti-tank grenades on the way. That's only going to make those anti-tank panzers even nastier, since they're pretty much the only direct anti-tank infantry that also has access to snares, which means they can pull off a pretty nasty combo. Of course, at the same time, they are reasonably easy to kill, so as long as you keep your armor reasonably well supported, and you don't do anything completely stupid, you should be able to survive it, but it's definitely going to make things a lot more difficult, and it's going to sort of curtail some of your more aggressive panzer movements, since your base risk, you know, losing a tank that way, if you're not careful, in particular light tanks, will be quite exposed. Still, Kryptic are mostly there for Maxims. Demo charge going there and there. Good spot. Full collapse here in the south. Should allow him to go ahead and grab that fuel point, which could then open up for more armor vehicles. Kryptic here taking up with the Tankery Battalion Command. Maximus heading northwards, engineers setting out. Veteran C1. MG34 heading down there, might chance up around the Corf point, but risky, and then getting this back though again. As we stay careful around the houses there, Emu, have to stay careful. Remember, partisans means anti-tank partisans. Oh, but we got Fallschirmjägers here, to support him, and there go quickly and getting here the Maximus out in the open and forcing a full retreat here, securing the eastern side as well. Equipped with AFT-42s, a rather potent weapon. They're not really produced a lot of. Once they're being grabbed, focusing southwards. And the Hermann Göring Fallschirm Panzer Division also had the honour of actually being, you know, trained by Fallschirmjäger instructors. I believe it'll also sort of use some of the same equipment as the Fallschirmjägers. Ooh, demo charge. Oh, he got spotted and dealt with it. Good work there, Emu. Good work. I was worried there's some poor German unit got blown to bits. there goes strong position here. He might want to lay down some sandbags to make it easy to defend the cold point here against Kryptic's forces. Looks firing away there. And of course, with the Partisans, it might be an idea here for Emu to begin considering, wrecking houses, dealing with them that way, ensuring that Kryptic can't pop Partisans out of them. Sadly, as the Upper Commander West, he lacks any easy methods for it. He can't just, grab a flamethrower after and begin burning down the house. Engineers have flamethrowers, we've got flashbangs moving up there, though, quickly engaging. Engineers quickly trying to avoid here. In the south, we've got a stout defense as well from Emu. Engineers almost getting wiped out. Up north there, oh, grenade! Wipes out the engineers there. He's, oh dear! Kryptic just lost both of his engineer squads here. There looks a bit of trouble with the T-70s. He might want to consider Puma here to assist versus it, or seeing as it's a T-70, he could consider double looks. That would also have a bit more versus any Partisan troubles plus Maxims. But Puma on the way there. But right now, Kryptic's actually surprisingly on the back foot. He's actually lost a bit there. Emu made some good advances, though he's not quite defending the advance again. There's not a lot of sandbags, and there's certainly no mines. Again, anything that sort of trip up Kryptic's counterattack here and make it hard for him to push forward. I mean, that's a mistake there by Emu. And again, it's a mistake a lot of aggressive players like, make. I mean, they push forwards, but then they don't actually set up to actually hold some of that ground, and then they sort of make themselves easier for a counterattack. And I mean, I obviously still make that mistake. It's something that requires training, but you still got to try and make the effort. Because without making the effort, you never sort of, begin the path towards getting good at it. There you go. Oh, holy moly. Double Maxims here. Kryptic got greedy. And, oh dear, that's at least potentially one Maxim goes down there, burning up horribly, getting shot at with assault rifles. Luke's moving in there. Anti-tank parts are arriving. Got the Puma moving down there. And, almost got what? Oh, good lord. He almost got both Maxims there. He should at least, I think, try to secure one, but no. Decides not against the T-7 moving up here. Anti-tank parts forcing the Puma to take a longer route there. Fulton squad being suppressed here. Puma moving up, they're covered by the Looks. He should rush in the Looks there against the Maxim there. Rockets flying all over the place, no need about supporting infantry. Need to be careful here. There we go, Looks engaging the Maxim up close with its auto cannon. Fulton's they're almost wiped out. Maxim pushed back, anti-tank parts creeping up there with a pantry. And there we go, he got the T-70 through the hedgerows. Good work there by Emu. Good work, that was a bloody counterattack there from Kryptic. Didn't quite fully work out for him. But so far, Emu has not done anything to secure that Maxim. I definitely think he should, because that could also be another way of at least turning the houses against him. Stuffed him in here and there. That would also make it easier for him to defend the area if he were to say stuff the Maxim. I think in here, make it, a bit harder here for Kryptic to get back into the field. And again, whatever Emu can do to frustrate a counterattack here, for Kryptic, the better. Particularly since he doesn't have a lot of assault troops. I mean, that would really make things difficult for Kryptic. He had to attack for a lot of Maxims again. Well-prepared defenses. But again, Emu there doesn't quite seem to realise it. I mean, hell, he could actually lay down trenches. I mean, he doesn't have to bother the sandbags. He just lay down trenches. Maxim in a trench covering this area. And Kryptic would, in fact, be in a massive headache. So right there, Emu's sort of missing out. Then obviously the flak half track is going to be in place, but it's just, again, not a go-to option. If it were, though, that would be excellent, because, again, then could further just lock down the Kryptic here. But still, Emu there, missing a huge opportunity to basically just lock down the area here and make it really difficult for Kryptic to push through. Huge miss there, I think, huge miss. But, of course, have to see if Emu sort of pulls through. I mean, he's still got light vehicles. He's got, I think, an infantry advantage, obviously. Just needs to sort of play a bit smart. He, and of course, needs to be careful about the Partisans. He needs to do something about these sides. In particular, these two, considering he's operating here primarily, could be a huge problem. Max Martin being caught there by Volksgrenadiers, Fallschirmjägers. Schnellauto shoots those Russians before they can shoot back with that Maxim. Up here coming as well, they're fighting the fire. They're going for the cough one again. Emu keeping good pressure then overall that way, gaining a resource advantage over Kryptic. Now just needs to be able to play that out there. Looks operating on its own again, what he needs to be careful with. And again, he knows Kryptic calls in anti-tank Partisans. Field here coming in the south, supporting a Maxim push there as well. And there you go, more Fallschirmjägers here appearing. In this case, going straight for the Maxim. You could see a Maxim right there. In this one, he should actually be able to secure and turn against Kryptic, in which case he should do it. Again, the more he can do to frustrate any assault there for Kryptic, the better, because again, Kryptic's force is not an assault force. It's sort of a whole ground force, but in its sort of determined resistance, and it's going to struggle a lot. There you go, looks flanking there behind the Maxim. Good work. He would actually try to cut down the retreating Partisans here, but decides against it. Partisan Maxim push back, and Emu, he's instead of grabbing it, he's salvaging it. Again, he could have grabbed it, stuffed it in here, covered his head quite nicely, and that would allow us to keep the east safe there for any sort of movement that Kryptic could have done for quite a bit of time there. Partisans appearing there from a nearby house, and overwhelming the MG-34 crew, cutting it down. Bit of loss there for Emu. Of course, he can recruit, but again, I definitely feel that was a tactical error. Slightly on the strategic, I suppose you'd call that an operational error, sort of the operative level, which is between the tactical and the strategic, sort of where it sort of gets tied all together. Max is moving about, they're heading towards the east again. We got a big push in again. This is where then a Maxim position in that house would have been really great versus Kryptic, but again, Emu decided he'd rather just have fire fuel than a tool that could sort of really strangle Kryptic out in the early game here. Well, we're sort of moving towards the mid game at this point. Actually, we are rather there. Looks being repaired, truck arriving. Shroud punch at quarters now would be a good choice. But again, he's sort of making constant pressures, constant pushes here for the CoH point against Kryptic. We then really should consider laying down some mines again. The Partisans are good at laying down mines. Engineers here being pushed back by the Puma. And there you go, Partisans appearing. Again, careful with the houses, Emo. Careful with the houses. Scheiße, does it keep appearing out of him? Where does it come from? I don't know. Don Maximus and Fightmakers can't really stop this level of firepower being pressured up the right side. Parts being pushed back as the infantry finally arrives. I mean, if it's going to keep operating here with these houses still intact, he needs to keep his infantry at hand at all times to quickly deal with it. Otherwise, I mean, he's allowing sort of Kryptic to have a pressure point here constantly, where again he can sort of catch vehicles from retreat and just sort of frustrate him. Head-on assault into Emu or Kryptic Maxim. Obviously not working out too well there for Emu in the north here. We got the looks operating here. This case, he's actually staying a bit more away from the houses. Though, of course, Partisan can still appear. In this case, he's choosing to sort of creep up there, try and get behind the looks, that way catching in an awkward position. And again, there is absolutely zero infantry operating with it. There's nothing nearby. So again, tactical error there, I think, by Emu. Again, he is not really reacting to Kryptic's play. And there you go, the looks is already down to less than half health. And in fact, he might risk losing it entirely then. Almost gone. Trying to hide it out, but that's not really working at this distance. And again, there is no infantry. And he's doing his best here, but the problem is the Partisans just don't take enough damage. And there you go, the looks is down. Again, tactical mistake. I mean, once your opponent has these two chaps about, keep your tank supported with infantry. And again, he could have stuffed a Maxim in there. And that's, I think, really was a bit of folly there by Emu. A bit of folly. We got an airborne assault in here. The Luftwaffe inserting in there. I mean, after Crete, there wasn't really something big. Fightmakers got insertion. But there'll still be an occasional tactical level one. A few here and there. Sort of a few Fightmakers dropping in. But nothing like the time of Crete, which overall did not work out very well for them due to the simple fact, A, they dropped too close to the targets, and B, they didn't have any weapons on them. Basically, they didn't want to be the paratroopers be overloaded, so they dropped their weapons except for a pistol separately, which meant they were undefended, and that really turned ugly when they dropped on Crete at several points. Just a little fun fact there about that. But yeah, Fightmakers then for the most all pretty much just serve sort of as an elite ground infantry unit, which is basically what happens with most of the paratroopers on all sides. Essentially, after a certain point, they just serve sort of elite infantry. For the most part. Little fun fact there. Part being pushed back here by Volksgrenadiers, Fallschirmjägers. I mean, he's got a lot of sort of heavily equipped units there with assault weapons. We've got a Panther on the way for Emu, though. That's good, that's good. Panzerkampfwagen 4, though, again. Stay watchful, stay cautious. Again, you don't want to leave easy targets there for Kryptic and his Partisans. Volks moving in again, going for the CoH point. Up here again, Fightmakers exposed out in the open. Maxim pushed back. Panther 4 halfway done there for him. Maxim moving southwards there.
The sector is at risk.
Engineers sneaking about there. Also, a fun fact about the Falchion Panzer Division Hermann-Göring, despite being an elite Panzer Division, it actually had no armoured half-tracks, which is actually a very interesting thing to note, since most Panzer Divisions, even the, not elite ones, would generally have one battalion of armoured half-tracks for its Panzer Grenadiers, but not the Hermann-Göring. I mean, later when it expanded to a Panzer Corps, did get a Panzer Fusilier Battalion, which still was armoured and half-track, but still nothing for the main sort of Panzer Division. I always found that a bit interesting. Pinback machine going up there for the Panzer IV. T-70 setting out here in the south, Volkswagen versus Partisan. Again, he's doing his best to keep resources out there to Kryptic in that sense. Again, strategically, he's got sort of a good plan there. It's just tactically, he does seem reluctant to acknowledge that he does have to be careful about the Partisans. T-70 there, engaging the Panzer IV, Panzer Walton engaging engineer unit, pushing it back, Pinback machine gun halfway done. Volkswagen with Sturmpire support in case there's mines or demo charges. Units being lost there. Guessing some more engineers bit the dust. In service of the motherland, there we go. Puma flanks in the T-70, got work in the south, Volkswagen's been put back. Really though, he should consider some mines as well. I mean, he's got a lot of reasons for doing things. Panzer IV moving in, ignoring the anti-tank Partisans. Emu prioritize anti-tank Partisans, not the T-70, and there we go. Another one appears, another anti-tank grenade now fouling up the engine of the Puma. There you go. Now we got the anti-tank Partisans rushing in after the Panzer IV, and again, what's next? He's got no infantry support for his Panzer IV. I mean, right here, Emu is just committing a series of tactical blunders. A, prioritizing the wrong targets, and of course at the same time ensuring there's no infantry support. I mean, he's popping smoke here for the Puma transport. You got fighters coming up, but it's rather too late here already. It is rather too late here. And there you go, Panzer IV down. And again, had Emu sort of displayed a bit more prudence or just better tactical sense, he probably wouldn't have lost that Panzer IV. Again, he was too concerned with the T-70, which, while it is a nasty target, can't do anything to his Panzer IV. Nothing serious. It's been right there. He's in a bit of trouble there. Farchmaker's now in trouble with the T-70. Keep moving up there. I don't think he's paying attention. Oh dear. Took a hit there. And we could see a wipe there. Down to 2 men. Oh dear. This is turning into complete disaster here for Emu. He underestimated Kryptic. And there we go. Wiped. Oh, scheisse. Jurgen and Fens, they're dead. More anti-tank part in this case of being around the Puma, which pushed forward to try and punish the T-70 with a damaged engine. So there you go, that's a Puma down as well. So I mean, right now Emu is getting absolutely clobbered here by Kryptic, simply because, again, of what essentially amounted to, two tactical errors again. One, not prioritizing the anti-tank punch, which could, easily do a lot of damage to the Panzer IV, and B, not supporting the Panzer IV with infantry when there are a lot of anti-tank parts about, and could always get more out there. Not because he's now got a lot of anti-tank parts, which does mean manpower-wise he'll be sort of, not have a lot of anti-infantry. Of course, with the maximum, that they will slightly be able to make up for it. And right there again, Emu, I think it's just the overall situation then again. And I'm not entirely sure he just refused to just what happened there, but clearly there's some kind of, and a refusal to accept the Partisans as an actual foe until it's too late. And again, they've actually now cost him his looks, his Puma, and his Panzer IV. I mean, it really needs to start taking them seriously, and that means keeping infantry near your damn tanks and vehicles. Also, he's probably regretting not using that max, because again, that could have saved him a lot of grief on the eastern flank up there. And of course, from Kryptic's perspective, I mean, he's just going to keep pushing anti-tank parts as long as Emu, keeps not taking them seriously. And the thing is, it's not like he's got no tools that can allow him to use them offensively to support the Panzers. He's got Valiant Assault, which allows him to sprint and gives them an accuracy bonus. Even then, you can easily use the fighter to then keep pace with the tanks doing an attack. And, also just lay down more fire. So, again, there's not really a lot of excuses there. But still, he's got a decent amount of ground there. But again, Kryptic has been able to sort of bounce back after that sort of initial really stranglehold that Emu laid down. But again, Emu there, of course, made another tactical issue. I would say strategic or rational. Again, not preparing for a counterattack. Again, that's also a thing a lot of players sort of need to prepare for. I mean, again, that was actually common practice for most well-trained forces. Take some ground, you dig in, prepare for the counter-attack. And again, a lot of sort of players here, though, sadly do not. Partisan pushing back, a full squad squad there. Here we got a Maxim almost wiped out. Can he get it? There we go. Seize it. See. Ow. Emu, you putz. Leaves it behind for the enemy to seize. I don't want to touch that. It's Russian. I might get my hands dirty. There you go. Partisan Maxim push this range. A lot of Fallschirmjägers. Bit of a tactical mistake there by Kryptic. I'm not entirely sure what he was hoping to happen there. Then again, Emu's making no one not securing the Maxim. Again, stuffing inside that house. Another Panther 4 there for Emu and the Hammond Göring Fallschirm Panther Division. Another T-70 away for Kryptic. Not a bad idea though.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture
Maxim pushed back. Fallschirmjägers advancing. Field gun there spotty. Should actually try and get rid of it if possible. Partisan's pushed back there.
Tank ready for orders.
Another T-70 out there for Kryptic. I think that's his third Panther 4. And there you go, Partisan engaging the Fallschirmjäger. Nice little flank there. Veteran defeating on the Partisans. And the second Panther 4 out here for the Hammond Göring Fallschirm Panther Division. And Germany. Partnering up into the Fallschirmjägers. Veteran did too, though of course we've got a T-70 inbound. Please be careful with them. He's probably not expecting, Kryptic just to keep going for T-70s, but with all the anti-tank partners out there, I'm pretty sure, Kryptic's figuring he doesn't need any actual big armor, since again, the way Emu so far has played, he can just rely on the anti-tank partisans, which is actually a pretty fair assessment. Again, just look at that. There's no real support for the Panther 4, making him easy targets for the anti-tank partisans. Bit of assault here, sort of bogging down up here. MD-34 though holds the anti-tank parties, allowing this Panther 4 for once to escape. And at the same time, again, his resource advantage does mean he can actually get up a lot more Panther 4s. He can instead of get 2 Panther 4s going at the same time, he should be able to threaten Kryptic a bit more and 6% more threat, though still he's going to have 4 anti-tank parts to this, 4 Panther Shreks, plus a field guns. Kryptic can lay down an awful lot of anti-tank firepower there versus Emu. And there you go, Sturmpanzer flanking in the Maxim with the Sturmgewehr. And there you go, quick sprint. And again, that's also why Maxim could have been used for actually to support his advances. If he secured one, guards of veterans one, he could use the sprint then to cover up, support by the tank. Can't help but feel that Kryptic or Emu keep making sort of a series of micro misjudgments time and time again. But anyways, MD4 setting up, got a large push here, T-70 again. Needs to be careful about spreading out his forces so thinly again. Partly again the T-70 punished the infantry, the anti-tank parts punished the tanks. He needs to sort of make more coordinated pushes now. He needs to sort of, work it all together into a bigger unity. Otherwise, again, his forces just sort of get picked off one by one by the T-70 or the anti-tank partisans. Close to losing a Sturmpioneer unit, and they probably will end up losing it. Grenade here. Oh no! He walked straight into it. I don't think Emu was paying attention. That is a Fallschirmjäger squad and a Volker squad almost wiped out, but the Fallschirmjägers did get wiped. Oh dear. That was a huge loss and a huge win there for Kryptic's partisans. That was... just that one grenade, 440 manpower, never mind any veterans, plus a few Volks Canadiers. Phew. That's got a sting. I'd be pretty annoyed with that if not ticked off. Picking up the anti-tank port, but again, anti-tank parts are stolen. Again, there's no real infantry to properly support it. He can, though, go for another Panther 4 now, though, and I do think that is what he should be considering here. More Sturmpioneers, but again, another Panzerkampfwagen 4. He might also want to consider maybe some Obersoldaten. As he's sort of quickly rebuilding his forces there and preparing for a larger Panzer push, at which point he might be able to provide a more serious threat there to Kryptic. Who's meanwhile going for engineers to replace all the ones he's lost and maybe, fix up his tanks a bit.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
I think Emu's just concerned with getting in as many airborne assaults as he can. While it is a handy ability, I still think you should try and make use of Valiant Assault from time to time. It should help deal with properly support his Panzer Force doing an attack. Taking hit, they need to pull back the Fallschirmjägers, I think. Bit. Overall, Kryptic again manning a sizable part of the front line with Maxims and Partisans sort of scattered throughout his territory. But he did lose a unit there. Well, it looks like a Partisan unit gave their lives for the Soviet cause. There goes 2nd Panzer IV, but there you go, field all set up here. And again, he just sort of keeps milling about with his Panzer IVs, exposing flanks, no support. I mean, again, imagine if that been, you know, let's just even briefly pause it. Won't do much for game going military in the meantime, but still, imagine if there were infantry support here again. Say, you know, used Valiant Assault, then Panzer IV moves up here. Valiant Assault's in here with the Fallschirmjägers, hits with a grenade, for example, clears it out, and then deals with the Maxim as well there. While the Panzer IV can then freely go on and even support here again. Say the Maxim there, of course, could be a problem, but then the Panzer IV could move behind here, deal with that. Again, Emu's just... I'm not entirely sure to describe how he's thinking, but he's not thinking as his pieces, it seems like, you know, as a bigger unit. He's just sort of thinking as separate pieces. It's like he's playing a lot of chess games at the same time instead of just one game of chess, if you will, which is a really weird metaphor, but I think it sort of aptly describes again that he's just not really sort of playing his tanks and his infantry together. Whereas Kryptic, you know, kind of doing that. And there you go, Panzer IV secured. And again, in this case, Emu further got punished for his poor tactics. I mean, basically, an abandon in this kind of sense is a punish. I mean, you made a mistake there, got lucky there with a bounce, but again, that can happen again. The Panzer IV does have decent frontal armor here, you know, the Corporal Commander West one, which can bounce stuff from medium tanks. Again, right here, Emu's, well, didn't punish. We've got a Fallschirmjäger squad appearing, approach and harass and flank, but still, we got a T-70 covering the flank here. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but it works out. And again, Emu punished for, well, again, some pretty sizable tactical mistakes. He's now popping in with an airborne assault, in this case up north. Instead of trying to maybe support around here, he could actually hit the point here, hit the field gun, maybe and secure it. But now Panzer IV needs repairs. Being pushed back here, closing in a bit too far than the T-70. Panzer IV being fixed up.
Yes, brother.
And there you go, grenade off, almost wipes the Fallschirmjägers. I mean, if he does that again, that's 250 munitions. He just sort of managed to render inert there for Emu, and... Whew. That was damn close. But there you go, fixing up the Panzer IV and down a nice corner there. The Russians did make use of German equipment from time to time, including Panthers. Though sort of the largest spread was actually Panzer IIIs, in which case they actually began a program to convert them into sort of assault guns, which sort of led to sort of semi-SS-76, semi-Stug thing. But they had to make use of them. And the funny thing about that is the Germans actually managed to grab some of them back and then use them against the Russians. So, little fun fact there. Fixing up the Panzer IV. Possibly engaged by the T-70 light tank, closing in veteran T3. Third time's the charm, I guess, since the other ones had a much lower survivability chance. Engaging head-on, again with no real support.
Supply sector under attack.
Got a larger push here with infantry, but no armor support. Going after the T-70, that would have been great with a Panzer IV working with it. You can soon go for another one, but there we go, Panzer IV goes back with a lot of anti-tank partisans. Catching here the T-70 between a lot of Panzerfaust, except he doesn't have the munitions for it. Also, the Volkskanadiers Panzerfaust is more expensive than the Fallschirmjägers one. Obviously, the Luftwaffe discount, or 5-figure discount, fat Goering. So yeah, another assault here not quite working out there for Emu. Lacking the vital element support, and there we go, Panzer IV arrives for Kryptic, now fully functional. Look at me, Petro, I am fascist. No, don't tell Commissar, please, don't. Fallschirmjäger sitting out there. He's really using a lot of Fallschirmjägers. Yes, a lot of Fallschirmjägers. Haven't seen that many Fallschirmjägers in quite some time. It's mostly just Jägers now. Maybe the occasional Orbers, but just mostly Jägers. And Volksgrenadiers. Troops are being halted. Fallschirmjägers need to fall back before the Panzer IV knocks the stuffing out of that house and collapses on the poor bastards. Panzer IV sits out again, closing in on the... getting another one. Up here, MG34 versus Max and anti-tank Partisans. And we can see he's actually waiting for the Panzer IV to get close enough he can sort of pelt it with anti-tank grenades and Panzer. In this case, though, Emu does get it just out there in the nick of time. But still, we got more anti-tank parts moving up there. Need to retreat the MG34. He's pulling it back towards his spare Panzer quarters. And there you go. Kryptic just backs off, knowing that's just going to end up their victory then for Emu. So nice attempt there by Emu to bait them into the spare Panzer quarters range, but I mean, overall he needs to whack his infantry and tanks better together. Fallschirmjägers moving about here. Anti-tank Panzerschreck there land, well, anti-tank Partisan landing a Panzerschreck here on the Panzer IV. There you go, Panzer IV turning on the Fallschirmjägers. And now Emu can go for another Panzer IV. I mean, overall, going for Panzer IVs in this situation is probably the best choice. I mean, there's not a lot of armour. His main priority is infantry, in which case the Panther's not that great.
A squad of infantry has been killed.
I mean, the Yak Panzer would just be completely and utterly useless. He just needs to handle his Panzer IVs better and work them better together with his infantry. If he can do that, I mean, he'd stand a much better chance there versus Kryptic, who again is working his infantry and armour overall together in a bigger unity there versus Emu. That was actually a mine laid down there by Emu. That's impressive. At least he finally laid something down. Panzer IV here again, just rushing forwards, underestimating the parts' ability to hide, and there you go, gets pelted and damaged, forced to pull back. And where was the infantry support? Nowhere near to be seen. I mean, again, he would say, you know, sneak up some units here right before that, then sort of attack from there, then attack the Panzer IV with some infantry from another angle. You can probably pull that off. Oh, well, Panzer IV engaged by Volksgrenadiers. Panzerschreck, oh, wiped the anti-tank Panzer squad. He might be able to grab that. He should grab that just to ensure that Kryptic can't get it back. Plus, it gives him a bit more there versus the Soviet armour as well. But there you go, second Panzer IV out there. First one fixed up as well. No pin machine guns. There you go, T-70 falling back here in the face of a more severe push there from Emu. Hammergering, Fallschirmpanzerdivision. Two Panzer IVs moving ahead here, and I mean, again, working them together, it's a lot harder there for Kryptic to stop. There we go, they can deal more now with anti-tank Partisans. Maxim here, though, probably should be more the Partisan. There you go, he can go for it, move ahead, or not. Almost got the Partisan there, shoot them, Sir Partisans, Ludwig, Sir Partisan, shoot him. For he belongs to the Born Party. Which isn't nearly as cool as our party. Need to get out of that house. Not looking good there. Anti-tank Panzer being holding by Fallschirmjäger and Panzer IV 5 plus MG34 5. Need to deal with that one. Go for it, Emu. I think, no, I've got a field gun actually moving up there, so that makes me badly out. Parts are being spotted by Volksgrenadiers, grenade going off, they're almost wiping them. Not entirely sure what's going on with Emu, but it's not working out. You need to pull back that MG34, and remember your Panzer IVs are not as accurate whilst on the move as they are standing still. So I mean, just constantly moving about, that means they're not going to hit a lot of things. Meaning they're basically wasting a lot of shots. Need to pull them back for repairs, so for the time being. Victory points, by the way, Kryptic is actually in a bit of an awkward position. I mean, again, had Emu been able to think better defend initially, I mean, again, this could have easily been GG, but again, Emu's, I would say, almost Italian level of failure to prepare for a counterattack, because the Italians were very much lax in the preparing for an enemy counterattack department. I mean, rather meant that Kryptic actually has been able to gain back and seize the map and the initiative against Emu. Another field gun away there for Kryptic, just further digging in and preparing for Emu's attacks. Large force sitting out again, house is collapsing to ensure the parts can't get out, though at this point I feel it's rather a bit bloody late, mate.
Anti-tank gun is ready for action.
At this point, I don't think he's so much bothering with the anti-tank part because now he's just picking up more equipment. He could consider actually taking up because he's got so much fuel. I mean, the Partisans have led to a huge manpower drain, but again, it's not something he was able to punish him very well for due to, again, weak tactics. Full force are suppressed by one Maxim, Veteran 2 almost Veteran 3 here. Panther 4 flanking the Panther 4, anti-tank Panther covering up the flank there, other Panther 4 moving up to engage on front, there you go, Filton on the job. Fallschirmjägers not focusing on the anti-tank Panther, there you go, anti-tank grenade going off. There you go, Partners push back, got more Partners moving up against the Fallschirmjäger, Veteran to flee. Panther 4 gets a hit here, Fallschirmjägers with Panther need to retreat. Panther 4 pulling back when under fire here from the SIS-3 field gun. T-7 moving up there, spotting ahead for targets. And possibly another field gun, nope. Field guns over here and on the move, I guess. There you go. Fallschirmjägers push back there, Panther 4 moving up. Straight to the Panther 4, there's actually a chance of getting it. If you can Panther Faust, he will not be able to escape. There you go, Blitz. But doesn't work. Steel Buzz need to retreat. Panther 4 moving up to get the last kill there. Risky. There you go, gets it, needs to Blitz out of there. So good work there by Emu in the end. Oh, T-70 makes a mistake. They rush straight to the Panther 4s in this case, though. Doesn't get thrashed too much by it. That's something there, I suppose, for him. But the Panther 4s, I need to repair. Need to pull that one back here to the Mechanized Regiment. And that one should at least be slightly pulled back away from the front line. It's a bit too close, and they could lose the Sturm Pioneer squad very quickly. They can very soon go for a third Panzer IV. It's there. I mean, a third Panzer IV would actually give him a lot of firepower, maybe just sufficient force to sort of break through at least one point if he plays them correctly and supports them properly with infantry. Maybe using, valiant assault to allow the infantry to keep pace, but also do more damage. Instead, we see another Fallschirmjäger squad here just trying to cause a bit of havoc there. I don't think that's the right decision there by Emu. Again, he's got a ton of infantry. He needs more armor to work with the infantry, I think, at this point. And so use it more, better. Panther 4 moving up the halfway to it. Super careful. Vorsicht! Scheiße. Panther 4 getting priority repairs, so they could have moved it back, I think, sooner to get fixed up. Old Station 6 on the way for Kryptic and the 213th Rifle Division in the south here. Fallschirmjäger was a Maxim. Geballte Ladung, clearing out those Russian Schweinhunden. Almost. Will he actually secure it this time, or will he allow it, to be taken back or just salvage it? If he actually gets it. Because immediately sets about focusing on the field gun instead of trying to wipe the vets into 3 Maxim. Fallschirmjägers then need to retreat. House cleared out. Looks like he lost another Fallschirmjäger squad, meaning ultimately just 140 manpower wasted. Fallschirmjägers was advancing Partisans. If you kill there goes from 6 barrages. Veteran to flee, Panther 4 then increased rate of flying, increased mobility, that is good for him. T-70 on the way, another one that is for Kryptic. Slightly gaining, progress in the south, but there we go. Field gun in front of the Panther 4, need to pull it back. Pull it back, another Panther 4 moving ahead. Still not the most executed best assault then, for some reason not a large infantry on the move. Now the field gun here gets a good hit though, Fallschirmjägers need to push up. Again, if it had, say, valiant assault to have the infantry be able to keep pace, that would be even better. Almost got the 8 and the 6 there, Panther 4 almost Veteran 4, which actually gives it, better accuracy and range. And once it hit Veteran 5, that becomes pretty damn good. I mean, ace level, which means you can see farther, but also shoot more accurately on the move. And also, Oberkommando S Panzer IVs do have still advantage over the Wehrmacht ones. Basically, they actually get accuracy bonuses more, where the Wehrmacht ones get none, because they start out with the armored skirts as well. So it actually allows the Oberkommando S ones to overall, while it's a bit more expensive, they're overall just much better value. T-70 sets out there. H-6 moving ahead there, very close to Veteran 1. I mean, he was able to push back a bit there against Kryptic, but he's still not able to really secure the map there, hold any serious ground. And he really needs to, I think, go for a third Panther 4. He could also, in theory, consider Stuka here. I mean, there's a lot of support weapons, so if Stuka could help out, he could also just go for, say, a pair of Luxus, provide sort of more mobile support to flank, but also just deal with the Partisans more effectively. In this case, though, Panther 4 takes severe damage, pull it back for the Emu. And lost. Yeah. He needs to, handle his armor better here. And again, it's also, a bit of a flaw to see with some, players here in higher rank. They do struggle to sort of use the armor in an effective manner. It can quickly end up losing them like that. Veteran 5 Fallschirmjägers, the elite heroes of Germany. Panzer IV really close to Veteran 4. Veteran 6 they're being repaired. But engaging Veteran 3 Max, but even the ditch they won't provide them much protection there. Ooh, he hasn't reinforced the Veteran 3 MG34. Oh dear, Emu, and he's still not getting more Panzer IVs. Again, he could easily get at this point, had 3 Panzer IVs up, which again could have allowed him much more firepower versus his opponent, maybe actually able to overwhelm in one spot, but no. But there you go, Veteran 4 on the Panzer IV. An excellent crew there for Emu. Another T-70 there for him. Mr. Kryptic, that is. Kryptic overall moving ahead. He could lay down more mines over, I think, there versus Emu. He's not really doing much to sort of further defend. Grenade there against the Maxim. And a part of me also thinks you just try and take up to at least go for some T-34-76s, though of course he feels like he might not need that. Again, I can understand him. He could also try to pressure him a bit more. I mean, there's many times where Kryptic could push forward to just, set up defenses further ahead there, but he does just seem to be more concerned with just holding what he's got there and not really overextending or just in pushing further forwards. Fixing up the T-70 here. No more. Oh, there we go. Another Panzer IV here for Emu. Just to feel like in this case, much too late there. He could easily let out much sooner. And again, 3 Panzer IVs, including 1 Veteran 3, Veteran 4, would have been, I think, a much bigger threat there to Kryptic. So again, missed opportunity there because he can just keep splitting up his tanks instead of just using them proper pushes with the infantry. Makes I need to be careful. Panzer IV moving on, of course, to Veteran 4, which of course also has increased range thanks to Veteran 4. Shots fired, getting off a bit kill set, but there you go, damage engine nonetheless, because again he's sent it ahead further forwards, just straight into a horde of partisans. Suffering a lot of damage there, focusing me up to the screen off, good, focusing on the anti-tank partisans. Almost Veteran 5 there, Fallschirmjägers pinned down here by the Veteran 3 Maxim, which he failed to get earlier. Now the Panzer IV, then again he can soon go for another one, but again, will Emu go for that? Meanwhile, Kryptic there could pressure a bit more on the right flank. I mean, he's now actually allowed it, despite having harassed it quite well earlier, just to just stand there alone, giving Emu a bit of free space there to operate on. There you go, focusing on fixing up the Panzer IV. Finally got some orbital down there. I do feel at this point it's a bit late there. Could have helped him much sooner, and I think versus the Partisan in particular would allow them to make it much harder to get close to the tanks. So a bit of a miss there, I think, for Emu. Plus, of course, they would also benefit immensely from Valiant Assault. There you go, clearing them out there. And there you go, the Panzer IV is good to go again. Another Asian 6 on the way for Kryptic. Go. And another airborne assault here. Whoa, that is pretty damn ambitious. I mean, right into where he's got no idea where anything is. And there you go, Panzer forming up the centre there, infantry moving up the west. I mean, he's making a series of attacks here. The problem is, wouldn't it just be more effective to make just one bigger push in one area instead of an airborne assault and using Valiant Assault, maybe a bit of air reconnaissance to spot out where the best part to attack is. Fallschirmjägers almost getting wiped out here. Panzer's basically stopping up the assault here because again he's then trying to manage too much, of course, again, broader front here, which again means he struggles. Another reason to try and want to focus in just one spot there. It's going to be a lot easier for him to manage. So right there, I think basically Emu either got too desperate or too greedy. Either way, he suffered massive loss. Again, he's trying to launch a full frontal assault there. but again, didn't have the resources, which is not really something the Oberkommando is, supposed to have, or, the ability to manage it across entire France, suffering a lot of losses. But there you go, veteran 5 Panzer IV and Ace. They got on the move there now, can see fire, can shoot very accurately, and fast, and move fast. I mean, really, a veteran 5 Panzer IV, while difficult to get, it's an absolutely excellent unit. Fast makes being pushed back there.
Yes, comrade.
Maximum on the way there for Kryptic. There you go. Partisan pushed back there. Maximum engaged. 85 versus 53. I mean, Kryptic's really been able to hold his ground again, really just punishing Emu consistently for his mistakes. Panzer IV here, and again the Ace under fire.
Awaiting orders.
A few misses. They almost got the vets and the fleet maximum crew there annihilated.
The enemy has 75 points remaining. You appear suited for command.
Slowly sneaking up there. No one's bothered with that Maxim. Oh dear, he's going to charge straight. Oh, no reconnaissance. Straight into. Oh no. A lot of Pantrix and anti-tank guns. There goes. Ace is dead. No infantry support. Nothing to even reconnaissance there. And then proceeds to blame it all on RNG. Oh dear.
Another vehicle has been lost in the defense of the Rodina.
Oh dear. Yeah, this really had nothing to do with RNG. That had nothing to do with RNG. That had basically all to do with Emu just tactically refusing to adapt to the situation and just sort of attacking, piecemeal rather than trying to launch larger assaults there, and also not fully utilizing the resources available to him. It's been a big mistake there by Emu. I mean, again, initially really strong play, but again, A, failed to then prepare for the counterattack that was inevitably going to come. No mines, trenches, or sandbags, which have really done a lot there to, I think, sap, the strength of Kryptic's assault. Then, kept operating his army independently for a long time, not spawning with infantry, not doing anything to counter the Partisans. I mean, it's surprising how he managed to last this long. Again, had he played a bit sharp here, a bit more what he was doing, he probably could have won this game about at the 20 to 30 minute mark. But he didn't again. I mean, or even just at some point gone for 3 Panzer IVs and launched a proper assault there with a bit of reconnaissance spot out where were the anti-tank weapons or the threats there, and then follow up with the Panzer IVs, deal with the anti-tank weapons, then secure the area of infantry. I mean, there are really many options there for him, but he just never really put the pieces together. Again, it just felt like he was sort of playing different chess pieces or chess games at the same time, and trying to play one big chess game in a sense. Whereas again, Kryptic sort of rule tactically got outplayed to a certain extent. I think early game his max was spamming again, while powerful here got countered hard. But again, he then sort of went for the Partisan, overall played a bigger, better strategy there than Emu again, who really just couldn't tie the piece together and overall just played better tactically, punishing Emu. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. Hope it gives you different matches. Hope you on. If you did, subscribe, like, share, and of course comment on it. This is Imperial Engine. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Up till tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.